Hi and welcome along to DR Sports. We are here for our first roundtable talk of the Premier League season 2022-2023. Looking forward to this season. It's going to be a great season, and we are joined by an esteemed panel, right? Representing Liverpool, we've got Doyle.
Simon, glad to be back. And, we know what I'm going to be talking about today. We all know what we're going to be talking about today, don't we?
Representing Tottenham Hotspurs, Abby.
Hi.
I'll be representing Arsenal, of course. Representing Manchester United, Neeks.
Putting on a brave face today.
And representing Chelsea, the one and only Matisse. Now, you will notice that we don't have a Man City fan here. Reason being, we're not being biased or anything like that. We haven't said we're not going to invite them because they keep winning it every year. Our Man City fan caught COVID, so was unable to make it. But we are still going to do the debate, right? Let's hope they... No, I shouldn't say that.
the one Man City fan that exists. Oh,
that's harsh. That's harsh.
At least they're from Manchester.
This is going to be great.
You let your heart down immediately.
Who gave Spurs all this chance? Conte.
Right, listen. Right? The Man City fan is not here. Of course, they won the league last year. Only just on the last day from Liverpool. Let's start off with you, Doyle, right? Do you think you're going to win it this year?
Do you know what? Before the Community Shield, I would have been really worried. But now Darwin's better than Haaland. No problem. We're just going to win the league, aren't we? To be honest, right, the last few seasons, and it's like this with Liverpool, everyone always writes us off, mate. Everyone seems to have seen that we're a weaker team. And when it comes to Man City, we always take them to the line. So I don't see why it'll be any different this season. We've both strengthened. Darwin looks serious. Haaland looks serious. Both teams look well orchestrated. But it's 1-0 so far to Liverpool, so...
Have you bought in enough? This season, are you happy with your squad going into the first game?
I'd say the one thing for me was right back. We don't know what that the new lad Ramsey is going to be like, and I did really like Nico, but he's moved on now. So other than that, I think I'm really happy with our squad. I think the depth's great. We've got a new little regen of Coutinho coming in. We've got Harvey Elliott. Like, this is a strong team, and I think we are waiting to make a big signing next season. We all know that might be. So yeah, I think
Phil Jones.
yeah, imagine. I'm absolutely ready for this season. I just feel like everyone writes us off. They always do, and it happened last season, and we went through every single possible game that we could play. So I don't see why it'll be any different this season.
We haven't got a Man City guy here, but we do have a Man United representative. Now, if I remember rightly, last year when we did one of these videos, you were very confident that Manchester United would challenge. Now, I know I said challenge because I know I was teasing you outside and saying you were going to win the league. You didn't say you're going to win the league, but you said you thought that Manchester United would definitely challenge for the league. You just signed Ronaldo, you just signed Sancho, you just signed Varane. It was looking all rosy at Manchester United, but it turned out to be a really horrible season for you. What are you going to do this year? New manager in Ten Hag, new players, new way of playing. How are you feeling?
I'm glad you mentioned the challenge and that day where you two ambushed me, trying to force me to say we're going to win the league. And thankfully, I didn't get caught up too much in the emotional
You did say 80 plus points,
that should have
right?
been the target. Yeah, I'm glad you remember. But we didn't get it. We had the worst.
She don't forget nothing. The receipts are here, man.
Oh, we know 80 odd points don't win the league against Man City and even Liverpool. But
how many points did you get in the end?
58. The worst ever Premier League season we've ever had in terms of points tally. Not the lowest we finished. We finished 7th under Moyes, but we got more points. So it was a terrible season. Terrible season. The team is not as bad as we played last year in terms of we're not a 58-point team, but we're much further away than Man City and Liverpool than even I thought at the start of last season. I didn't think we were going to win the league last year, but I expected us on the back of 2 top 4 finishes, 3rd and then 2nd, we should have been as a minimum in that top 3. The way that Chelsea played last year, I said that's the worst we should have been doing. We were a disgrace, absolute disgrace. And it's all changed. New manager, new structure in terms of the board, the people in the director of football, etc. And some new signings. I say some new signings because that's probably the area that's not going to make us struggle the most, but it's going to come a cropper at some point during the season. We've only made, we made 3 signings, Eriksen, Martinez and Malacia, but that's not enough. it's not enough if we're talking about getting back in the top 4, and nowhere near enough if we're talking about challenging Liverpool and Man City. So I'm not even thinking about title race this year. I'm barely thinking about top 4 race. I'm just like, it's a year of transition under a new manager. I don't do the it's a free hit. I don't
process.
do. No, well, I don't want to say
Is it a
process.
project? Is it
I
a
don't
process?
want to
The
say
P's.
it's just a transition.
Uh-huh.
But we don't do free hits. Only one team does free hit seasons. I'm not naming no
Free
names.
hits?
I'm not naming no names.
No, but you're not really in a position to name any names.
I'm not naming any names.
You're not in a position to name any names.
It's a transitional season, and
So what are you going to do? Come on, put a name on it. What are you going to do this season?
at best,
Top 6?
at best, no. Well, if we finish outside top 6, then that's a disaster.
Sack him.
I'm not saying that either, but it's a disaster. For me, top 6 should be, it's a guarantee. I'm not even thinking.
Top 4?
I'm not thinking, we're not getting top 4. We're not getting top 4.
So you're thinking 5th or 6th?
With 5th or 6th, I'm saying 6th more than 5th,
Okay.
and hopefully a trophy.
Man United.
Listen, we can say it's Man United, but we have to be realistic. We are not where we were 10 years ago. We're not even where we were 5 years ago. The league isn't how it was 5 years ago. So
Forest.
So we well, I don't know about that, but we have to be realistic. And if I'm going to come in, bravado, we're Man United, which as a club, it's embarrassing that we're not challenging for the league.
Will Ronaldo stay?
Do you want Ronaldo to stay?
Yeah.
All right,
Yeah.
no question. Will Ronaldo stay? The way it's looking, I think he might, because regardless of whether we want him to stay or not, there has to be a club who's going to go and get him. And it looks like there's no one really out there willing to pay him what he wants.
Like what Abby said, do you want him
No,
to
yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is the first thing. So whether or not, I think he's going to stay anyway. And do I want him to stay? I wouldn't mind if he stayed. I'm not passionate about him staying.
But you don't want to stay.
But listen, it's about what's best for Man United. And that means if he goes, we need to replace him. If we can't replace him, then he has to stay. We can't let him go because he wants to go.
Keep him as a prisoner.
Yes. He signed a contract.
Well, in a way, it's his own prisoner, because if no one else wants him, then what
Exactly.
are you meant to do?
There's nowhere for
He
him to
could
run.
lower his
Doesn't want
wages,
to.
like if he really wanted
Exactly.
to, couldn't he? But he
Yeah.
doesn't want to.
If
so-
he-
If he's that desperate to go, then there's things that he can do to go. But he wants his cake and he wants to eat it. He wants the money and he wants Champions League football. So if he can find a club who's willing to give him that, then maybe my view might change. But as it stands, he signed the contract. I'm not saying it was his fault why we're in the position.
Hold on, wait a minute.
He was a part of the team that ended up in the
I'm having deja vu, man. That was you last year. That was Harry Kane last year, wasn't it? It is proper deja vu. That was Harry Kane last year. And actually, in the end, in the end, you wanted him to go. Actually, in the end, it turned out all right, didn't it?
No,
You wanted him to go.
You wanted
him to go.
You forgot those receipts,
said,
didn't it?
No. I brought my receipts. I said I wouldn't want someone at the club who doesn't want to be there. I never want Harry Kane
And
to
he
go.
didn't want to be there.
But at the same time, it was a bit like I could see both sides. I wouldn't want a player at my club that didn't want to be there, because what's the point?
Yeah.
However, if you are in a contract, you have to abide by the contract. And I always said it, if City would have come in with a bid like what they offer for Grealish, which is what they should have just done for Kane, but it was a half-hearted bid, and you knew it was a half-hearted bid because you knew they'd go get Haaland for 60 mil this year. It was a half-hearted bid. So why would Spurs have let him go for less than he was worth? If it would have been a substantial and respectable bid of 100 plus, then I would have said, if he wants to go,
He can go.
then let him go.
What do you think they should do?
Well, I think it's a bit of an odd situation because no one wants Ronaldo. That's the difference. If someone came in and they wanted him, I don't think you'd be opposed to him going. Right?
I wouldn't, as long as we replace him. If we say Ronaldo and our front and Martial's our only striker, then I'm like, no, then you keep
It's
him.
about what he
And
adds, isn't he? He's added so many goals to your team already. If you're not going to bring someone in that replaces them exact
Has
goals,
he
then
though?
you're
This
stuck.
is a conversation. Has he actually added goals? Because the year before he joined, they scored more goals.
Yeah, but the difference is that they're not in that situation that they even were for 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So without them, last season, where on earth would you
They
have
had
finished?
two managers that didn't want, like that last manager that they had didn't want to be there. Like he literally said, I'm going to be committing myself at the end of the season, and I went, actually, no, I'm not. See you later. It's awful.
All I know is Ronaldo is. I'm not blaming him, but he has not taken Manchester United forward, and that's not his fault.
He's
but
steady.
but the point is that was not the solution. So if you're not finishing top 4 anyway, like I said, it's like going into a bar trying to buy everyone drinks and they're still dancing with everyone else. That's basically what Ronaldo is doing.
Would you take him?
No,
At
absolutely
Chelsea?
not. Are you mad?
You need a striker.
Are you mad?
Absolutely need
Are you
one.
Robert,
mad?
you know, if they went in for
mad?
a Barca, we'll hijack him anyway.
Absolutely.
It's true.
Yeah, it's true.
With all the money.
We should start putting out fake. We should start putting out fake transfer rumours that who we want.
Oh, like Arsenal when they make the clip of the player in the actual shirt and then they go elsewhere.
Yeah.
You should do that.
Rafinha
Good
clip,
Photoshop,
yeah.
though, very good
But very
Photoshop.
good Photoshop.
No, I wouldn't take Ronaldo because he would take away from too much of what we are trying to do. Every time that Chelsea play at their best, when they play Liverpool in the cup finals, take them to penalties, is because we're energetic, we press from the front, we stick to our philosophy and what we're trying to do. You bring Ronaldo into that, it completely goes left.
Yeah.
We're playing to his strengths, we're trying to put everything on him, and he's not a game changer. We've already seen that.
He's not a game changer.
He's not a game changer.
Ask Rami about game changer. He dunked on them a couple times.
Yeah, he did, but I'm thankful. I'm thankful for it.
In the odd
Because,
game, he might
you know.
win you a game, but over the course of a season, he hasn't improved you. And that was one of the goals against
So
Tottenham.
hold
was
on,
one of two shots
we're
outside the box.
talking about that. I say deja vu.
4 goals.
It's kind of very similar
Lukaku.
to you guys. With last season, you know, Chelsea fans were bouncing as well. They just signed Lukaku. This is the answer. We needed that striker. We've got him in place now. This is it. This Chelsea team is going to challenge for the league.
I don't remember that.
I remember it.
You liar.
And again,
There's a lot to be said on
it ended up
Chelsea.
really, you know, by Chelsea standards, a very poor season.
I'm not
We
gonna lie,
know
that
all the
was normal.
stuff. We also know all the
Yeah.
stuff that happened within the season. How are you feeling going into this season? Because it's been a weird one for Chelsea. Normally, Chelsea, they got their targets they want. Boom, Abramovich in, Maria, get him. It's done, right? At the moment, you know what I mean? You went in for Koundé, Gazump,
What are you smirking about? I swear the
Rafinha.
man you was going Sue for is trying to leave your club. What are you smirking over?
Listen, I can laugh because...
Is that not your legend?
Listen, I have to laugh because if I don't laugh, I'll cry. So I need someone else to be down there with me.
Rafinha, Gazump, Kimpembe. I mean, there's so many targets that Chelsea have been going after.
Dembele,
They haven't...
I'll list the rest of them. Dembele, they tried to get. Remember he...
Yeah,
turned you
from
down.
Barca.
Remember that one? Didn't they try and get Gabriel Jesus on the last day just
Nah,
before?
they
And
tried
to get
they
Jesus.
did, didn't they? Yeah.
They did. You tried to get Jesus
Chelsea
as
right
well.
now, Chelsea right now are all over the place. There's some players we're legitimately bidding for. There's some players we have not bid for, like Ronaldo. There's some players like Kimpembe who have not rejected us because we've never put up the actual money. But we're putting out a lot of feelers, a lot of again. Cucurella today.
Yeah.
Like we're literally exploring. I call our story the Explorer right now.
You're
but we don't
dating.
have the map.
You're
We have no
dating.
map, and Barcelona is swiper. That's what
Are
I.
you
see.
worried at the moment?
Of course, because we need more players. I've said it so many times. We need so many players, and we are being held up by our own demise. We talk about Roman and Marina. Chelsea have finished 3rd, 4th, 5th, 4th, 3rd over the last 5 years. We haven't been in a title race since we won it under Conte. So this narrative that Marina and Roman had us in a better place over the last few years is false. The fact that we bring in early targets is also false. We've only brought in over the last few windows maybe 3 or 4 players before this current date. A lot of even the Lukaku business was done quite late. There's a lot of business that gets done late at Chelsea. So we're around about where we usually are. So,
Happy with the signing of Sterling?
Oh yeah, the signings that have come in are really strong. Sterling goes straight into the 11. Koulibaly's looking great. I know people are trying to run a narrative that he's finished, but he's literally been brilliant in pre-season. He's a top centre back.
Good price as well.
Same age as Van Dijk, not putting him on the same level, but if you can't say that at that age he's finished when Thiago Silva's come into this league at 37 and
He's
done
quality,
pretty well.
he is quality.
So he's a quality defender, but we need more. We need a good 4 or 5 players.
What
more.
is it? Why are players not coming to your team? Because
Because
why
Barcelona
am
are bigger.
Barcelona have got no money, lad.
But they have. I don't understand it. If we were to debate where they got this money from, we'll be here for 45
This is
minutes.
what a
I have
player's
no
doing.
idea where
This
they
is
got
what
the
a
money
player's
from.
doing. He's going, I can go to Chelsea or I can go to a team that are not going to pay me wages. And he goes, and I'm like, what's that? Why is that happening?
Rafinha went to Barcelona and he took a wage cut. He was on 60 at Leeds. He's now 30
Again,
at Barca.
so where's the law gone for Chelsea? You just won the Champions League.
But Barcelona are a bigger club. Barcelona are a bigger
Absolutely.
club. We have to just
I know
talk
that.
about. They're
Yeah.
a bigger club. They're massive. Players are absolutely falling over themselves to get over there. Lewandowski, everybody's going there. So if we're losing the transfer market to this one specific club that nobody can, if we was to check their bank statements, they wouldn't be able to even.
I mean, I know
they
it
wouldn't
is.
even be able to get a profit
Coutinho and Suarez
right
and all
now.
that, you know what I mean?
They wouldn't be able to get a profit.
They don't even want De Jong, and De Jong don't want to leave. That's
That's what I'm saying.
Good lads,
What Leon
good
said about
lads,
United was unreal. To say that you don't like Manchester, doesn't want to go there, and also your club is so shambolic. He's like, I'd rather just stay here and probably just not get paid
All
or
my
play.
money they owe me.
And just not go
Well, listen,
to Manchester.
talking of transfer windows, You had a great one so far,
So
innit?
far, we've had a
So
good
far,
window.
Tottenham, I hate to say it, but you happy with the
I've
window?
had a really good summer, like stress-free summer, like no Kane worries, no Son worries, no manager worries. We've spent our own money. We've had our chairman putting our own money in for the first time in 25 years. It's been like a dream. But I feel like I'm now getting greedy because I want more. Like, I feel the signings we brought in have been great. I think they're exactly what we've needed. I think all Spurs fans would say they wanted another centre-half. I know we brought in Longley from Barca. But I think that we all had our heart set on like Bastoni from Inter. But I can see, like, I've obviously listened to a lot of stuff over the summer, and like, he's really young. He'd only been at Inter, I think, a season. So I kind of get why he didn't want to move yet. But I think for us, like, the Richarlison signing is a perfect signing for us because it kind of slots into that front three. You can rotate it with Kulusevski. There's no point of going and getting like a £90 million striker because they're not going to play. Like, you need people that are good enough, have Premier League experience, which is what we always lack in buying, which we've actually done this summer. Bringing in Richarlison, Basuma. I've always wanted Basuma. So I'm really happy about that. Jed Spence, from the minute I watched him against you guys in the FA Cup, obviously followed him through the FA Cup, through the Championship last season. I was thinking, what a baller. He's a bit of a rough diamond. He reminds me a bit of Kyle Walker. With like the pace and the ability, he's so
Manager
young.
didn't want him though, did he?
I didn't want him, but I tell you what, I wanted him. So I think that he'll like him. And I think the biggest thing in a Conte team and formation is his 3-5-3. He does not ever steer away from it. And what we've seen under it is, the fullbacks that we had just aren't the mustard. Like, we could see that,
Emerson Royale.
Reguilon barely got a look in anyway. And we were, actually, fair to Matt Doherty, had actually learned a lot from Conte and was looking a much better player under him. But, with him and with Spence and Perisic, and, having the rotation, I've already seen in pre-season more balls into the box than I'd seen the whole of last season. So I think that the strategy and what they've brought in obviously have been, Conte signings or a group decision as to why they've brought them in. And I'm actually feeling, very content with our transfer window.
Trophy this season?
They're winning the league. You didn't head around much, you just went on with. They would have won the league.
It's worth a tenner. It's worth sticking a tenner on it. No. Like, seriousness, I think that for Spurs, it's got to be maintaining top four, staying in top four, and winning a trophy above anything.
Which one?
I don't care. I couldn't care less what we win, whether it's Carabao, FA Cup, whatever.
Audi?
I'll still take the Audi. Listen, every trophy counts, all right?
Not that one.
I just think for us, I don't care what trophy it is. That I think there's this whole stigma that, like, they always say the first one is the hardest one to win.
Especially the Community Shield.
Yeah. But it's true. Like, the first one, especially when you've had this deadlock for such a long time, you've just got to get over the line and just got to change your mentality within the team. And I feel like we've got the perfect managers to do that. Whatever Conte wants, I fully trust, I fully back. And yeah, I mean, I just think it is imperative we go for every trophy because we've had managers in the past that maybe don't prioritise it or are told not to prioritise it because of the squad depth. But I feel we've actually got some depth now, and I hope we might sign another player. I don't know who or what position in the window.
Madison?
Well, I've just
Sullivan,
Newcastle were trying to play with it, but I think that we wouldn't probably pay the money that I think Leicester want for Madison. Like, it will be too much.
Okay, enough of the Tottenham talk. Right, because I'm here as well, and I'm here to
She did
represent.
speak about a few players that you wanted.
I'm
Madison,
here to
Basuma.
represent Arsenal. There was a player that you wanted in Gabriel Jesus, and you didn't get.
I haven't stopped banging about it on this.
And I'm telling you, right, that could prove to be one of the signings of the summer. He's looked really sharp. He's looked really, really good. He scored a lot of goals in pre-season. Well, you can say pre-season doesn't matter, but I'd rather have a good pre-season than a bad one. Last season, actually, Arsenal had a terrible pre-season. I remember we didn't beat Hibs, we didn't beat Rangers, we got beaten by Tottenham, remember that, and Chelsea.
Good times.
And then, we went and lost our first 3 games. So for me, having a good pre-season is important for Arsenal. And what I've liked about the team is look very fit. The way we're playing, the new style of the pressing, the energy has been excellent. And this is an Arsenal team that I think is going to surprise a few people this year.
Where do you think?
I haven't finished yet. Right, Zinchenko, I think, has been an excellent signing. I think that's been a great bit of business.
After
what you said,
after
Abby,
we hijacked you for Lisandro Martinez, don't leave that one out.
No, listen, you can speak to or watch any of my videos. I wanted Zinchenko first. I was like, we need a left back.
Premier League,
and I'm like, all right, I saw the Lisandro Martinez thing and I think, all right, a guy can play,
Priority
you
signing.
know, a guy can play left back and centre back, but to me, we needed a left back,
Yeah.
right? So I was always a bit worried with Lisandro Martinez, thinking 5'9" as a centre back in the Premier League's a bit too small for me. Just my view on it.
We'll see.
But I wanted Zinchenko, and we got Zinchenko, and I think Premier League ready, knows the league.
He's been brilliant.
Good signing, right? I think Saliba coming back is like a new signing. He's looked really, really good. I think he's going to be a big player this year. And as I said, you know, with Fabio Vieira, we've not seen him yet. He's been injured. But at the moment, what I'm seeing from Arsenal, I would say this is the first time in probably 10 years that I see an Arsenal team that looks like it's ready for the first game of the season. And I think Arsenal are going to have a good season.
So
this
what,
year.
what's a good
season, eh?
What do you think is going to finish?
I think Arsenal will make the top 4 this season. And I think, well, I don't know why are you a big team again?
Stop being a big team.
No, you have.
We have.
That's why Ronaldo wants to go.
We are still a big team.
You're not big no more.
We are still a big
Ronaldo
team.
wants to leave
We ain't
because you're
got
no longer
Arsenal.
big. Listen to what I'm saying.
Remember
now,
that
right?
song, yeah?
I think we could get top 4. I'm being realistic. I think we could get top 4 this season. Right? We still need to. I'm like what you were saying, Abby. We still could do with a few more signings. I'd like to see a midfield player come in. I still think we need another attacking player. But I think
over
it's
who? Top
looking
4
a
over
good
who?
squad. Well,
Liverpool.
over you.
No,
Forget us. When we finished outside.
I agree.
don't be silly,
I
lads.
agree. I agree with
No, but we
you.
finished
Yeah,
outside the top 4
No,
last
no,
year.
I
So
agree
forget
with
us.
Robbie.
You need to replace someone who finished it last
Chelsea.
year. So that's what I'm saying.
Chelsea.
I
It
genuinely
could be
think
Chelsea.
I
It could be
think
Chelsea.
I think Chelsea, lad. I think Chelsea going to
I think
finish
we should
fifth.
all wait until that
These
transfer
two
window
strengthens,
shuts.
right? What I would add
But
to
hey.
this, what I'd add about Jesus, right, is we're talking about Darwin and we're talking about Haaland, who both haven't played in the Prem at all. This guy has, and he's going to play a full game of seasons.
Yeah.
That he will get a lot of
And
goals.
he's the main guy.
He will. He's going to
He
get a lot
will
of goals. The only thing I would say about Arsenal's attack is you're missing a bit of height. That's it.
Yeah,
You're missing a little
listen,
bit
I
of
would
height.
like to see, I would love to have seen Arsenal bring in a player that could offer something a little bit different. You know what I mean?
For a
plan
We
B,
don't really
yeah.
have, plan B, we don't really have that. But listen, you can't get everything. And at the moment, as I said, I like how the team is playing. Listen, we'll all find out come the first, 3-4 games of the season. But at the moment, I'm liking what I see.
You do look good, and I don't give Arsenal credit because I don't like Arsenal. Everyone knows that. But you do look good in pre-season, so I think I can give credit for pre-season. It doesn't really count. What I would say, and we had this debate at the back end of last season. Of course, I said I think Man United would get top 4, but we didn't. But I said Spurs will finish above Arsenal because you were in a similar situation where you both were out of Europe, both had 1 game a week, but they had a world-class manager. Now, Arteta is a good manager. He's not proven that he's world-class. He may well become world-class, but as it stands, Conte is a world-class manager. Tuchel is a world-class manager. If we look at the teams as a whole, if you say the teams are, say, even in some places, maybe Arsenal's got a better defence than Spurs, Spurs got a better attack than Arsenal, etc., etc., I think the manager could be the difference. And I think that is what might
that's
be the difference between you finishing 4th.
That's a fair thing to that.
I have Spurs in top 3.
I think last year Spurs, it was their world-class attack.
Yeah.
That got
But they had a world-class attack
I think
Nuno. Conte was the difference.
Yeah, but I think even with Conte, there was a lot of games. I mean, to me, there was a lot of games that Conte
Some spicy games.
like the Brighton game, right?
There
Following it up the week after we lost to Brighton, you would have thought.
But he came mid-season. He's had a whole pre-season.
No,
He was
hold
only
on,
going to
hold
leave
on.
after 2 games
No,
or
but
something.
he's
He's that fed up, mate.
Burnley
He was like, I cannot take
Burnley
this
game.
anymore.
Burnley
I
game.
cannot take this.
I think it was their world-class
thinking too.
attack that got them over the line more than Conte being world-class. That was my view on it. But listen, I think Gabriel Jesus, we've lacked last year, up front, our strikers didn't even get into double figures.
Yeah.
And I think, looking at Gabriel Jesus, I think he can get into double figures.
He should get 15. He should get 15.
Yeah,
Minimum 15.
obviously, our City fan isn't here, got COVID, but we've got to talk a bit about City. They've signed Haaland now. They've signed Alvarez, right? They've signed Calvin Phillips. They've strengthened, even though they have let go, Raheem Sterling's gone, Gabriel Jesus has gone, Zinchenko's gone. But still, there's not a feeling that they've got much weaker. And even in that game, again, you saw the quality in the Community Shield with them and Liverpool. It could have been anyone's game. They're still going to be right up there, aren't they? They're still going to be the team to beat, aren't they?
Everyone's having their fun now, saying that Haaland is the new Lukaku. They're putting their names together like a married couple.
I haven't heard that. I've just heard about Darwin getting slated
It
everywhere.
was Darwin,
It was
and now
Darwin.
the agenda has shifted. You know what I mean?
Thank you.
The algorithm's changed. We'll be back. But listen, when it comes to City, they always find a way. They actually get off to a slow start quite often. They had a slow start last season. They still caught up.
There's
So
a false sense of security.
exactly.
Like, we're going to win the league.
Yeah,
and they're like,
everybody
no,
gets
you're not, lads.
everybody gets it though. Everybody sees Man City and they're
It's
like,
that squad depth, isn't it? Which
Yeah.
they still have.
Yeah,
I think what's
exactly.
interesting though with this City team is whereas like they've always played that false nine, it's going to be weird to see them play with an out-and-out striker that is really going to play probably every single game, Champions League and Premier League. So like even though they're so set in their ways of how to play, like I'm interested to see how he's going to fit into that role, if that makes sense, and
Very true.
keeping the ball and having possession of the ball. Yeah,
Same for us,
it will be.
Same with
set.
Liverpool.
But
Yeah.
I think Nunes, and I made a big call a few weeks ago, and I'll say it again on here. I think Nunes will score more league goals this year
Than
than
Haaland.
Haaland.
I've got the feeling
And,
he
and
will as
I
well.
think he fits seamlessly into Liverpool's team because of the way you already play. You get a lot of
Yeah.
crosses into the box. Now you got a 6 foot plus striker.
Who's
in
good
there.
header of the ball,
Exactly.
mate, and he makes good runs.
Exactly.
Nunes reminds me of Salah when he first comes to Liverpool. Salah would have 5 chances a game and he'll score one of them, but he'll still score. He'll miss some of the chances, but
happened
as
in the
long as he's
Community
there and is moving, yeah, even in the Community Shield, you've seen it. Darwin's definitely got proper quality, and so is Haaland. So I'm very interested to see what this battle is going to be like, especially with the two styles now they're changing. These two styles
All
are
right,
changing.
well, let's break it down, right? Each of you give me your top 4.
Okay.
Starting with you, Doyle.
Well, what I
Top
think
4.
What I think is the North London teams have more well-rounded teams than they do with Chelsea. Chelsea are going to be a very difficult team to play against, though. They're going to be very defensive this season. They've got Koulibaly, so I think it's going to be
So who wins the league?
Liverpool. I'm not going to back.
Well,
Liverpool
I didn't
second.
think he'd say that. Right, so Liverpool win the league.
Liverpool, City, Tottenham, Arsenal, Chelsea, United.
Oh, you give me your top 6?
Yeah.
Say that again.
All right, so give us your top 6 then. Top 6 again.
So Liverpool top, Man City second, Spurs third, Tottenham fourth, Chelsea
Spurs and
fifth.
Spurs and Tottenham in
Wow.
third
Oh,
and
sorry.
fourth.
Let me start again. Liverpool first. Liverpool first. That's the most important one. Liverpool first. Man City, Spurs, Arsenal, Chelsea, United.
All right, Matisse.
City first, just again. It's going to be painful. Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, Arsenal, United.
Neeks.
Listen, I'm in a tricky situation because if Liverpool win the league, they've got 20 like us. If Man City win the league, they've got 3 Premier Leagues in a row, which we're the only teams that have done. But I hate Liverpool more. So Man City to win the league.
What about Arsenal winning the league?
I hate you lot a little bit less.
Yeah.
But I've
go
got to
on.
be realistic. Man,
Right.
Man City first,
Yeah.
Liverpool second, Spurs third. You know what? Arsenal fourth.
Yeah.
And if he doesn't, Arteta should be sacked. Chelsea fifth and Man United sixth.
Same as me, lads, except.
Yeah, but Robbie,
Sixth.
we are a bad
We are
team in
finished.
transition.
Say it, we are finished.
We're a bad team in transition. That is the worst
Can I just
combination.
record you
If you're a
saying
good
that,
team in
like,
transition,
that's
you've
gonna
got a chance. If you're a bad team but stable, you've got a chance.
He's
We're a
doing
bad
everything.
team.
Someone's like, Robbie,
Yeah.
chill. Robbie,
Yeah, he
Robbie,
is.
we are
Not get
finished.
cute.
Okay, Robbie, we are finished as an institution.
Okay. Abby.
I'm finding it very difficult to pick between Liverpool and City, to be honest, because I feel, just to give myself some justification, that with the World Cup in between, it's going to play a very big part in what
Yeah, you
happens
could
in
see,
the
you
top
could see
4.
some strange results.
I feel like there could even be someone else, like an outsider that gets top 4 or gets 5th, because I feel like if England make it the whole way, for example, and like we finish on the 21st of December, and then the Boxing Day games go ahead on the 26th, like we're going to see a lot of fatigue. It's going to be a really weird season. However,
Great point.
Would that
hard.
be
Go on,
Spurs
Abby.
first?
Go
it's
on,
hard
Abby.
to split
Go on.
because I feel like City are going to have all their focus on the Champions League, whereas I feel like what's more important to
The
you
Prem now is
is
we
the
want the
Premier
Prem.
League.
Yeah, yeah.
So
And they
I'm
both
gonna,
mess it up
I
every
had
week.
it in my head, but I'm going to change it. I'm going to go Liverpool to win the league. This is a last minute change. City second, Spurs third, Arsenal fourth, United fifth, Chelsea sixth. Because I have a feeling you might sack your manager this season.
Chelsea's sixth.
All right, I'm going to go.
That hurt.
Obviously, we haven't got our City fan here. I agree with you guys. Again, you can't separate them. They're both. I think I'm gonna probably give. God,
It's tough.
difficult.
It's not easy. It's not easy.
It's
not easy.
Because our City fans not here, I'm going to... No, I can't.
Just say Arsenal. You know you want to say it. Just say Arsenal.
Zoom in on him.
I wish I could. All right, I think I'm going to have to go City. Just because, you know what, even though I think Darwin Núñez is going to go do really well, I still think Mane, that's going to be a big miss.
That was for me as well.
Right, so that's going to slightly edge City. Liverpool second.
Say it.
Arsenal third.
This guy.
Tottenham fourth. Chelsea fifth.
I like this.
And Newcastle sixth.
You've got some IT.
Watch out in Newcastle.
Yeah, because Madison, they're going to sign.
I think they're going to be a dark horse this
They've
season.
barely done anything in the window. I'm
They're gonna sign some
disappointed.
players.
They're going to be a bit
But
of a dark.
they've got-
Listen, I remember when we played them last season, man.
Yeah, they
were a good side.
Yeah.
Right, and if they add a few to that, right, they could be a little dark horse coming in.
Wow. I like the fact that everybody's going with top.
Neeks face.
I can't go with the traditional. You know, we've got to bring in, got to throw someone new in there. You know what I mean?
outrageous.
Nobody's
But anyway,
No,
listen.
right, but I feel like they haven't done enough in the
The World
window.
Cup, you just said, then the
World
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 Cup.
Cup. This is what you said. The surprise
I
package.
do, but I feel like there's other teams
You
that
know what I
maybe
mean?
have
Abby, they're
it
cooking.
currently.
They're linked with players. Madison,
They're
Harvey
cooking, but it's on light.
You know, we've got our top six, but who's going down? That's the question to ask as well. Relegation fight. Of course, last year, you know, Norwich, as we, you know, they're always up and down.
Yep.
They went, right? Watford went,
Again.
and then Burnley went after all
I would
those
just
years.
like to
was
point
upset about
out,
that.
I had all three correct.
Yeah, Burnley correct
I
still.
had Burnley correct.
Give
think
that
you did,
woman
yeah, you
a
actually-
medal.
I thought it was going to
Did.
be Leeds.
She's
She
a
was.
And I
genius.
remember
She said
I remember
Burnley.
you said to me, Burnley, and then all Burnley fans hated
You
me
know
for the
what I
whole
told you?
season. But I just
That is the
like I
thing.
said.
Women have taken over football. I know that. you
Yeah,
know.
yeah, yeah.
They won the Euros for us. They got all the football knowledge. So
Yeah.
let's ask you then. First,
Yes, come on, lead.
who is going down?
All right, Fulham. And no disrespect to Fulham fans, it's just because you're like Norwich.
They came up brilliantly. though.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they always come up brilliantly. Everyone talks about it. Oh, they have, the most points. Yeah, great. We've seen it all before. Like they spend loads of money and then they do nothing with it and they always go straight back
They're
down.
being a bit
And I
smarter
like
with it
Fulham.
this time, though, isn't it? They haven't. Remember a few seasons ago when they spent like 100 million.
Yeah, but it's not like just once or
Got
twice
Ryan
this has
Babylon.
happened. This happens like consecutively every other year between them and Norwich. Like, and it used to be West Brom, and thank God that doesn't happen anymore because like that is the worst game ever. It's always a 1-1, always. Right, Fulham first of all, and I do like Fulham, but I just feel like they
Doesn't
always
sound like it.
do. I do. I like them more than I like
That
Burnley.
London rivalry.
Not saying much.
I just feel like they do the same thing. I want teams to come up, that are like a Brentford. Like I was like so buzzing when Brentford come up. I like teams that are different when they come up and they like give it everything. So I feel like Fulham, for me, they'll be going back down. I do quite like Bournemouth as well. Scott Parker, like
Sticky.
it is a sticky,
It's a sticky
one.
one still. I can't lie.
And I don't want Forest to go back down either because
No.
I feel like they're such an iconic team. that
You don't but who's going down?
All right. Arsenal.
You love that. wouldn't you?
I would. All right, okay, I'm going to go Fulham. Unfortunately, I'm going to say Forest because I feel like Bournemouth, maybe the fact that they've got Premier League experience from before could help them. But like I said, I hope, Forest don't go down. And then I feel like there could be like an outsider one. Let me see the thing.
Well, we got, Southampton didn't have a great season.
Yeah,
last
that's
year.
another one.
Everton. You know what I mean?
There's a lot of teams. We were just saying it before. Like
you know.
I feel like there's a lot of teams that kind of underperformed again last season. I remember talking about Southampton again when we were having that conversation about relegation and saying they could get sucked in. They're always one of these teams where I feel like they're just there or thereabouts. They never really do much to like cement themselves. They always just hang around in the balance. So I feel like Southampton could get dragged into it. I also, and I know it's horrible to say, I feel like Leicester. They've disappointed me a lot.
Yeah, they've had a bad
They've
run.
really
They haven't
disappointed me.
bought
They've signed no
Yeah,
one.
and then-
They had a pretty poor season. And if they lose Madison, I think they're in
They could
big
lose
trouble.
Fofana.
They could lose Fofana.
Fofana.
They could lose Tielemans.
Massive.
You know.
They could. Look, they could very well stay and then they could go and buy people later on, potentially. But from what I'm seeing at this point and from what I based it off of last season, I feel like they could get sucked into a relegation battle, them and Southampton.
All right, but who's going? Who's your free?
She wasn't gonna get over it. Tapped her hand like, yeah, that's me, dog.
Who's the free? So
Alright,
you got
my
Fulham?
three are going to be Fulham, Bournemouth, Southampton.
Okay.
I'll be wrong this year. but-
Matisse.
I agree with Fulham. I agree with Southampton. I think they've been very, very, very poor for a while. And every single time towards the end of the season, they just fall off out of nowhere. And I haven't seen too much recruitment. Leicester do look weak, but I'm going to go Fulham, Bournemouth and Southampton. The South Coast are going to take a hit.
That's a big hit for the South.
Big hit.
The poor South Coast, man. Won't be no more than long journeys down there.
Part of the thinking.
What about you, Neeks?
Fulham. Yeah.
Oh,
Say
poor Fulham, man.
Fulham getting
man.
battered.
It's long.
And the season hasn't even started.
I'm gonna go Bournemouth as well. To be fair, I haven't actually followed them during this like transfer window, so I don't. Maybe I haven't done much business that I haven't seen, or maybe just come under the radar. But I'm gonna go Bournemouth. And my third one. It's hard for me to see it, but it could happen.
Brentford.
I'm gonna go Everton. Like it's slim. I say slim. Obviously, they were in a relegation battle last year.
Well,
So maybe it's
They've lost
not
Richarlison.
true. You say
So maybe it's
They've
not
lost Richarlison
so
as well.
far-fetched. But
Lost
because it's
Richarlison,
Everton,
that's massive.
It's
Yeah.
like Everton don't get relegated. So how can I put
nearly
them down
did.
there? But I mean, and it's not the first time they fought. I think when Moyes first joined Everton, they were fighting
Close,
relegation.
they were close,
Exactly.
like
I think, yeah, just above the relegation zone.
Oh, listen, it's not a bad shout.
The business hasn't been. Who they
The-
got?
Dwight McNeil was a good signing.
That's a good signing.
Tarkowski.
Tarkowski, yeah.
So they may have enough
They lost
defensively just to.
Richarlison as a...
Yeah,
But going forward,
He kept them up, didn't he?
I'm not sure if they got
I
enough.
wouldn't say he
Alright.
kept them up.
He
I'd
did
say-
at the back of the
He's
No,
one of the
season.
main
I wouldn't say
reasons.
he
And
kept
now
them
he's
up.
gonna
I'd
win you
say
the
it's
title,
because
so that's
I'd say Burnley lost more. And it,
I hear
I
it,
just,
but he did his bit. But and I think that the Lampard inexperience.
What if
He'll
you
get
got
sacked though if
Alright,
they're
Doyle.
not doing the business. I think.
I reckon it's going to be Fulham. I like Mitrovic. He scored 47 goals last season and like 13 assists. He's going to be sick in the Premier League. He's going to be a different Mitrovic that we've seen. But I still think they just don't have it. It's just like Norwich. I think Bournemouth are going to go back down. They're only going to have a 10,000 seater stadium. It's massive. That extra fan in the Premier League is what gets you over the line. And I think Southampton, losing Brozier, they're going to get sucked into that Premier League and they're not going to escape it this time. I think it's going to be opposite between them and Leeds. Leeds are going to be
Leeds,
back in
yeah.
there again. I'm not convinced by the signings they've made this season. I don't think that the manager's particularly the best manager, so yeah.
that was a very good shout.
The Leeds
Very,
one.
very good shout.
Leeds.
No
Leeds.
Calvin Phillips, no Rafinha. That was a
it's
very
been
good
taken.
shout.
Yeah.
Best players. I just can see them slipping right
Very
back.
good
Not
shout.
Forest are not going
feel like
anywhere
your
for at least the
predictions,
season because they're going to come up and have their big bounce in the Premier League again, like Leeds did. You know what I mean? That's what they're going to do. So
Yeah, I don't know.
he spent well as
I
well.
think-
Brentford.
Very
You
good
know,
shout. Very good
I
shout.
don't know. Everyone's
good
right
shout.
enough. You know, I'm gonna go. I think Forest might go back down.
You reckon?
You know, they haven't really made no big signings that where I
You're just
look at
hating
it.
because they've
made a
actually
lot
won the
of
Champions
signings.
League, innit? That's what it is.
Nah, they always
Atmosphere
there.
tax.
They have
Mind you,
made
they
a
always
lot.
beat us as well.
Atmosphere tax.
Yeah, they'll have great atmosphere, but it's not just that alone. That you know, when you come up against your Chelseas and your Uniteds and Liverpool's, Arsenal's, Tottenham's, those sort of teams, cities, it don't matter about atmosphere. That might play a part early in the season. That diminishes later on. I think Forest, when I look at their squad, you know, I don't know if that's going to be enough to stay in division. So I'd say Fulham would have a better shout of staying up because of their experience. I think everyone's just writing them off because they've been a yo-yo. I'm going to go Forest. I'm going to go Bournemouth as well. I agree with you. I think, again, I've not seen them, you know, they've done well to come up. Scott Parker played good football, but that's not going to be strong enough to stay in the Premier League. And then the third team, it's one of Fulham, Southampton. I think Everton as well are in the mix as well when I'm looking at it.
Which one is it? So which one is it? Tough, isn't it?
I think I'm going to go Fulham. I think all three. Brentford. I think
All three that came up are going back down.
Brentford. Right, they had a great season last year, but remember Ericsson came in. They were having a hard time. Ericsson came in and kind of pushed them. They went on a great run and survived. At one time, they were looking at like they could be the guy. But maybe the experience of being in the Premier League might help them.
It's not a team.
All three that come up are going straight back
bottom
down. That's what I'm
six
going to
is,
go. I'm sorry.
slim
I hope it don't happen. I mean, you know, I think Forest are a massive club. Would love to still see them in the division. I love that trip to Bournemouth, one of my favourite away days. But I'm not sure if those three have got enough to stay in the Premier League. So those are my three. What are your three? Love to hear from you guys. Which three teams are going down? You've heard from us. But yeah.
It's tough.
I think the
Tough
Everton
league.
thing is. I think the Everton thing is interesting though, because I know that you were saying he did his part, but I really don't feel like he did much. Like I feel like there were just other
Lampard
teams
hate
that
him.
were.
He got
It's
loads of yellow
actually
cards.
not.
He got a lot of yellow cards.
It's actually yeah.
So basically, you wasted
it's
60
actually
million.
not. What?
You lot wasted 60 million.
No. It's not me saying that. I just don't think that he's a fantastic manager. I don't, and I think that he'll be sacked by the time the World Cup. I think what is interesting, like I said earlier, with the World Cup and things happening which might not be as conventional. You might see some managers which are sacked usually around the October point. You know, when it comes to international.
Who's getting
whatever.
sacked first?
I think it'll be Lampard.
So you're saying Lampard, you're
Lampard.
saying Lampard. Sack race, who's first?
Wow.
I mean, the way that we've been talking, Tuchel. Bloody
I know, yeah. Also, Southampton's manager, because I know their fans are getting a
Well,
bit.
hasn't he?
Yeah, they're getting a little bit sick
Hassan
of him.
Hootle.
Who?
Southampton fans.
Hassan Hootle?
Yeah, it could be him.
They
He's
are
got
getting
another
a
man
bit
on
fed
the
up
shout,
with him,
yeah,
lads, to
that's
be
a
honest
shout,
with you,
yeah.
lad. And I know that he's been there for about 5 years already now.
Could be the Leeds manager as well.
Yeah, Jesse
Marsh.
Marsh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Marsh,
all
man, because they
like
still
this-
love Bielsa, and now they want to see something
They
from
love
him. Like you
Bielsa.
said, he's lost Rafinha. Calvin
Phillips.
Phillips, a
Massive
huge
loss.
loss.
He's
They had a
also
lot- that's why they was down there in the first
That
place.
was a
I'm
very-
going to go
Yeah.
Jesse Marsh. Who are you going? Final one.
I'm going Hassan Hall, yeah.
Hassan Hootle. All right. I want to hear from you guys out there. Who do you think is going to be your top? Who's going to win the league? And what's going to be your top six as we've been giving it here? Can Man United bounce back? Are we writing off Chelsea too soon? Are Liverpool the real deal this season? Are Tottenham the real? Can they win a trophy this season? And can Arsenal be that surprise package? I want to hear from you. All right. I want to hear from you guys out there. Let us know. Leave a comment. But thank you very much for watching. And don't forget to subscribe here to DR Sports.